Fans, we welcome you to NCW Rampage here on WB 30. Jason Steele ringside. We start off the show with a tag team match. A newly formed tag team. We've got Mr. Happy, Brian Wayne, and Tony Gibbons taking on the team of the Cuban Commando and Tiny Tim. This new tag team, Tony Gibbons and Brian Wayne. Tony Gibbons has had some problems with members of the First Family and others, so he's called on one of his friends, Brian Wayne, who stands in at 410 pounds from Cornelia, Georgia. Here not facing members of the First Family, but instead taking on the Cuban Commando and Tiny Tim, who have teamed together before and had some problems, to be quite frank about it, in their earlier tag team matches. Right now, it's Brian Wayne starting off against the Cuban Commando. As you can see, the definite size advantage and weight advantage goes to Brian Wayne. The Cuban Commando still just shaken by the USA chants from the people here in Irionton, Ohio, as we come to you again from Irionton on NCW Rampage. Got a lot of action to get to tonight, including the player Brian Logan against Southern shooter Todd Morton, and your main event tonight on Rampage for the NCW heavyweight title. Bull Payne defending his belt against Johnny Noble, who we saw last week pick up a win over Eddie Browning to gain that title shot. That is still to come, but we'll see how this tag team works out with Brian Wayne and Tony Gibbons. Wayne and the Cuban Commando lock up. Cuban rakes the eyes to get the upper hand. Shot to the side of the head. There's another one. And the big Cuban trying to throw Brian Wayne off the ropes, but trying to move 410 pounds. Standing still is not going to do it. And now look at that, the big drop kick by the big man. That's, again, 410 pounds, showing some great maneuverability, getting into the air for that drop kick on the Cuban Commando. And look at the Cuban outside the ring. He is kind of shaken by that. And look at that maneuver, a little power slam onto Tiny Tim. And trying for a pump handle slam, it looks like here. Scoops up Tim, and down he goes. Tiny Tim is in some trouble now, and here comes the tag to Tony Gibbons. Getting our first look at him tonight on Rampage. So far, so good for this new tag team of Gibbons and Wayne. Side headlock by Tony Gibbons. Tiny Tim shoots him across. Gibbons jumping across, jumping over Tiny Tim. There's a face buster by Tiny Tim onto Tony Gibbons. So Tiny Tim quickly turns the momentum around, and his team now with the advantage. Here's Tim with the tag to the Cuban Commando. The Cuban quickly in and delivers the right foot to the midsection of Tony Gibbons. Cuban shoots Gibbons across and hits the back elbow. And Tony Gibbons is down. And look at the Cuban giving a little push there to Brian Wayne. I don't think he wants any part of Brian Wayne. Wayne trying to come in. The Cuban and Tiny Tim with the switch. They didn't tag. The Cuban says, yes, we did. And Tiny Tim comes in with a reverse chin lock on Tony Gibbons. Gibbons back up to his feet. Shot to the midsection. The back elbow once again goes off the ropes. Tim trying for a backdrop. Tony Gibbons, a sunset flip, gets a 2, and that's it, as Tiny Tim kicks out. Tim with a double axe handle right to the midsection. Now shot to the back of the head. Good work by both of these teams. There's a drop kick to the back. And Tiny Tim again hooking the leg. He's got 1, 2, and Tony Gibbons kicking out. Just a 2 count. Cuban Commando said, hey, how about a 3 count? But no, only 2. Tag in from Tim to the Cuban. Good teamwork from this team. And here's a high backdrop by the Cuban Commando. And Gibbons is in trouble as the fans start the USA chant, which again gets under the skin of the man from Havana, Cuba. He's had his problems here in Nationwide Championship Wrestling with Killer Kurt and with Joey Bravo. Cuban trying with a clothesline but misses, and both men now deliver the clotheslines. They're both down. Gibbons now trying to get some momentum, trying to make the tag to his tag team partner, Brian Wayne. The Cuban trying to do the same with Tiny Tim. The Cuban first makes the tag. There's Tony Gibbons tagging in Brian Wayne. Look at the advantage there. There's a big elbow for Brian Wayne. Scoop slam coming up on the Cuban, and down he goes. All 4 men in the ring. Scoop slam from Brian Wayne on to Tiny Tim. Now Tony Gibbons with shots in the corner. The Cuban Commando jumps into the outside. And look at this. They're setting him up. This could be the high roller. High roller possibly coming up. Tiny Tim is just hanging up there. Here we go. Tony Gibbons off the top rope. Look at that. The high roller. Brian Wayne with the pin. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Tony Gibbons and Brian Wayne, impressive in this tag team match. They get the win over Tiny Tim and the Cuban Commando, your opening bout on NCW Rampage.